Okay, an alert now on that see something, say something story. So police are swarming a bus station about an hour outside of New York City because someone called in about a passenger behaving suspiciously. Officials now say a young man dropped a clock from his long coat. Turns out the passenger was just arriving from Israel on a student visa, was trying to get to his family's home. So when he was asked about the clock, he said in broken English, that's how he keeps track of time. See something, say something. Donald Trump surging on the national stage, finding favor with 35% of primary voters in the latest CBS News New York Times poll. That is up 13 points since their last poll in October. Ted Cruz now in second with 16%. Ben Carson dropping from first to third at 13%, followed by Marco Rubio, Rand Paul, and Jeb Bush, all in single digits. Tony Sayegh is a Republican strategist. Leslie Marshall, syndicated radio talk show host, both Fox News contributors. Tony, Trump is up 13 points. What do you make of it?
Well, look, it's also important to note that this is taken, of course, before his controversial comments, of course, suggesting that we should bar Muslims from the country. Trump is definitely a force of nature in this primary, and I think we're beginning to see conventional wisdom surrender to the fact that he could very likely win some of these early primary states. Remember, Gretchen, we've been saying up until this point, well, yeah, he's leading in some polls, but that doesn't mean he's necessarily going to win anything. He's doing extremely well in Iowa. He's in the top 2. He's doing extremely well in New Hampshire. He's in the top spot. But the real story here that you have to really look at is the rise of Ted Cruz, and that's directly capitalizing on the decline of Ben Carson, because if Trump is going to meet resistance, it very well might come from the right, the conservatives, not the establishment.
He already has. He got resistance on his comments from Democrats and every Republican in the field. But Leslie, check out this poll from South Carolina. Okay, look at Trump, 35%. Carson is the next one close, but it's not a close race at all. This is a whopping win for Trump right now in South Carolina.
Yes, it is. And quite frankly, although it may be a win for Trump, I think it's a loss for Judeo-Christian values that this nation was founded on. I think it's a loss for the GOP because this nation was founded on religious freedom. This nation is founded on tolerance, and we have become such a diverse community. And quite frankly, I don't consider everyone in the GOP or every Republican a racist or a bigot or Islamophobic. And I think Donald Trump shows a very ugly side, a fringe element of that party, and I think it hurts both the party and the political process.
Well, we all know now that you cannot have a religious test. That is against the Constitution. He maybe should have phrased it differently with regard to taking religion out of the equation. But look at this next poll, Tony. In South Carolina, support for him before he said the comments, 30%. Support for Trump after he said those comments, 38%.
Yeah, you see,
this is resonating.
Yeah, and you do see a lot of things happening here, Gretchen. This is not just because he was bold enough or politically incorrect enough to say something that a lot of people feel. This is a few things. There's anxiety after the president, in addressing the nation after the worst terrorist attack on our country since 9/11, decided to talk about gun control, that he has no idea what he's doing, that leadership in this country is not going to protect us from the rise of terror. So when Donald Trump says something that's frankly irrational and unconstitutional, there's support for that. What increases that support is when the mainstream media, liberal Democrats, and establishment Republicans all attack him for it. So that even magnifies their support of Trump because he's standing up to these institutions, these trifecta institutions Leslie, they oppose.
Leslie, I have to tell you that I'm hearing from all different kinds of people on the street, you know, in cars, whatever the case may be. Some people are saying Donald Trump is saying stuff nobody else will, but that a lot of people actually believe.
Well, because you believe something, because we once had beliefs that the earth was flat, it doesn't mean that it's right. And Tony, you're being pretty PC yourself. We do have to look, quite frankly, at the state this is coming from. A state and a region of the country that have worked very hard to shed negative images with regard to racism and hatred toward individuals, with regard to terrible things that have happened in our history, like slavery, lynchings, et cetera.
Wait a minute.
Quite frankly, in 2000...
Donald Trump has said that this is not based in Islamophobia. This is based on the fact that the female terrorist who came over, we just found out yesterday, she may not have even been vetted. Yeah. So if we can't vet that one person who kills 14 innocent people, how the heck do we know who else is coming to this country?
And don't forget, Gretchen, this is on the heels of something.
Gretchen,
Let
to your
Leslie
point-
finish.
Sure.
Thank you, Gretchen. Gretchen, to your point, the other terrorist was born in this country only almost 30 years ago. Most passports in most nations are not stamped with religion. I don't want to see that happen again, a religious test. In addition to that, an individual, as I've said before, can be, terrorism has no religion. You cannot be a Christian, a Muslim, or a Jew and murder people, commit
right
suicide.
now, Islamic,
that is absolutely
radical
against
Islamists are
all
killing
the beliefs of
Americans.
all of the
So
religions.
that's where this is stemming from. We could go on and on and on and on. I got to wrap it there. Great debate. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
You're going to hear from both.